In a world of legendary moments will be captured. So stand up, scream, and make sure the boys feel you.
And the only thing else I got to say is, how about them Cowboys? Yeah!
Who's it gonna be? Who's it gonna be? Oh yeah, there's my bitch.
Remember, the ball must travel 10 yards. It's loose. Mud Dogs football.
Well, good evening, everybody. What's going on? I'm looking for my bitch. There's my bitch. What's up, Primetime Phil? How are you doing,
I appreciate the wonderful introduction. I'm someone's bitch. Am I holding the pocket, inside out pocket? Is that what I'm doing here?
What's going on? How are
No,
you,
man. It's been one of those. It's been a week over here, raining, sun shining, raining. So it's been definitely just a slow pace week, but definitely busy. And so this is really the first time that we've really been able to talk. It seems like for a week or so, it's been like a week and a half. I don't know, a week.
Definitely. It's as we like to say, the dog days. I'm off till Monday. Phil sent me some stuff I need to do, and of course I forgot about it. So I'll be able to get to that tomorrow, but thanks for reminding me. I remembered right before we went on air. I'm like, shit, he did send me that information. But yeah, it's like the dog days, Phil, where I live here in South Jersey, which is literally 30 minutes from the link. I almost said Veteran Stadium, Eagle fans. I almost said Veteran Stadium. From the link and where the Eagles practice. I'm literally 35 minutes away. And, it's like Dallas 2.0. It's like the Cowboys' life. Eagles are living the Cowboys' life. Now, the market here, Phil, has always been rough. It's very tough on their hometown teams. It just is. It almost makes it impossible to win. And this is coming from a Cowboy fan looking outside in, but I know. That's why I keep telling everybody, and I watched. I missed it live. I was out in my pool, but I saw the Mark Holmes Philly 500 thing, and it's all a game, people. Hey, listen, shout out to them. They're having fun, but it's all the same shit. Nobody's giving anybody any credit in Dallas for anything. But it's a mess here in Philly, and there's really no reason for it, Phil. There's no football being played. No balls are being passed, kicked. No balls are being ran. Nobody's being tackled. Do you believe the shitstorm that is the NFL, even in the offseason, Phil?
Yeah, I mean, that's how much the rivalry really digs down in there. The rivalries, again, aren't the same as they were before, but the land of social media and obviously players switching jerseys and signing each other's jerseys and stuff. It's just, and switching teams and going to rival teams right off the next following year. So none of that really means as much. But when it comes to the fan bases itself, it's hard for me to say that that's tapered down. It just seems like that fire continues to burn. That's why when we talk about the divisions and rewriting them, it's like, okay, so Dallas should really be in the NFC South, and so as we talk about it, but they're not going to break those type of divisions.
I'm ready to get
up.
the hell out of this division. Nothing to do with the Eagles. I'm just tired about every time something comes up. It's wow, Dallas. It's just like, okay, so Eagles are having a problem in their front office. Everybody's saying that there's an issue with the quarterback, and the first thing they want to do is bring up the Cowboys. It's like, okay, we know we're a shit show. I know we're a shit show. We got like front office who will not do nothing. Won't do shit for us. So
well, here's the thing. It's we've all been in different relationships, and I think we've all also been in that relationship where you may say something negative towards your partner or your spouse, whatever, and then that person says automatically something negative in return to kind of put a balance on it. And I think that's a lot of times what it is that they hear something negative, so they automatically give you your negative as well. It's like, oh, before you start talking down that road, you guys have all this and stuff. Yeah, well, we've had 30 years of not winning, and so trust me, we can gather up a lot of that. We haven't
Right.
done shit.
Yeah.
What's up, Wade
Yeah.
Walker?
What's up, Walker Wade? How are you, brother? Wade Walker.
Going on?
How you doing? What are you
Can you
working
hear me?
right now? Yeah. Are you working?
No, I'm driving home.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's just that the dog days, man. It's the dog days.
Yeah, I saw that live stream with Philly and Mark, and boy, Philly was coming down pretty hard on Mark on defending Dak.
Yeah, man. Listen. Well, listen. I'm not gonna. I mean, I love Mark, but I'm not gonna. I mean, everything comes back to Dak with him. It does, right? And that's fine.
You know, I like Dak as our quarterback. Like, my thing is, I will agree. Like, you know, Dak, you're a great quarterback. Like, you're gonna put up some numbers, but bro, we got to get it done. You got to take a step forward.
Well, like what I thought was funny, Wade, was, you know, how Dan was saying, well, you know, like quarterbacks, and he was, I don't know if you heard him like rattling off Dak Prescott's regular season stats, literally,
Yeah,
bang
compared
for
to
bang, Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes.
And then
Yeah.
he says, well, like quarterbacks get paid for regular season stats. I mean, that's basically, you can't, you know what I mean? Some of these, you know, and I was shocked to know that, like TJ Watt was saying, there's one more thing in his career that he wants to do. And I'm like, wow, what could that possibly be? He goes, win a playoff game. TJ Watt has never won a playoff game. He's 0-4 in the playoffs. And I'm just saying to myself, you know, and he makes a lot of money. And like Dan said, he's like, yeah, quarterbacks make their money in the regular season stats. So then in the next breath or the next 5 minutes, it was like, well, you're going to pay Dak, you know, $60 million and he can't win in the playoffs. You just kind of contradicted yourself. That's why I'm glad I'm not on that show, because they just throwing shit at it. You know, it's just all, let's crap
The
on
Eagles,
Dallas.
I think, are in a worse spot than us, because I really think Jalen Hurts is about to just fall off a cliff. I really feel like it's coming.
I'm not predicting it. I predict these things. I'm like Conor McGregor, but I'm not going to predict it, but it's on the table. But only because of that media market. Only here can we have what we have. What's up, Rob?
I don't see. Yeah,
Hey, what's going on, guys?
I don't see it this year. I mean, I'm pretty harsh on Hurts.
Yeah.
I'm harsh on his college, being the talent that's around him. I think there's just way too much talent on that offense for them not to be successful.
Yeah, I got them winning the division only because I'm not picking Dallas. But real quick, let me get to the chat, then we'll circle back to Rob. JoJo's in the house. West Virginia country boy, Lady Libra, Brad Harris. What's up, Brad? Glimmerman. We got Glimmerman in the house. We got Arturo Gomez, Elena Walker, Eastside Herald's representing Houston is in the house. OS Tyler, we need to get Trey Lance ready. Well, he needs to. He's going to get his opportunity, that's for sure. Rob A obviously is in the house. Jameson Taylor, what's up, my man?
I'm hearing back and
According
forth.
to Brian Broaddus, he ain't looking too hot.
Yeah. Vinny Hagen, what's up, my man? And Rob just puts Jalen has zero excuses. Now, Rob, I get a little flack by doing videos, but there's not much to talk about. You know what I mean? There's not much. So when there's like stories, I'm sure I could only talk about training camp and signing UFL players, which we'll get to, but so much, you know. But the hot topic is Howard Eskin, and I don't know if you're familiar with Howard Eskin, long time the radio guy. You know, he's got a big mole on his neck that he needs a rat to chew off, but he's starting his shit, basically saying. He's basically a mouthpiece for the organization, is what he is. And he's talking shit on Jalen. And again, this is coming from a Cowboy fan, but I think it's ridiculous. You don't see, listen, we're not paying our quarterback, but, you know, you don't see any of this. You don't see any of this. Well, Dak's got to be better, as much as far as I can remember. And Wade, if you remember something different where I'm not saying the Joneses don't put out certain things, but for the most part, have you heard it? Is this Philly
I live
media?
here in Dallas. I hear so many rumors like around radio stations and.
But I mean, this is literally coming from upstairs that they're crapping. It's not like they can get out of Jalen Hurts. What are they trying to do, Rob? Are they trying to light a fire under Jalen? Or I mean, just real quick, Jalen says there's a 95% new offense. 95% of the offense is new, and then the organization comes out and says, no, it's really about 20. I mean, what's going on? Why are they?
That's why I think he's going to take a step back. I really think he's going to struggle this year with Kellen Moore. I really do.
I disagree with that only because of
and
great
they lost
offense.
their center.
Yeah.
I think with the great offensive line and with Saquon back there with a little bit of depth with Kenny Gainwell and Shipley, we drafted that kid Shipley out of Clemson.
I liked him.
I think he's
everybody's
he's
forgetting
hands.
about him. Everybody just keeps
There ain't
saying
going to be no more tush pushes.
Everybody.
I don't think there has to be.
Well, here's the deal with that, in my opinion. Okay, so they were 90. It was literally like 1st and 9 every time the Eagles got the ball because they would always get a yard. So that's a big advantage. So if it's not 90% and it drops to 70% or 60%, it's still pretty damn good.
It's still pretty good, right?
Yeah,
right.
but I mean, I hear what Walker's saying. You don't replace a Hall of Fame guy, but
you don't.
You brought up Will Shipley. Everybody keeps saying Saquon, Saquon, and I know he's the big money guy, but a guy like Shipley, who I loved coming out, Phil loved coming out, is there and available to carry, some of the load. Well, first, Rob, since you're an Eagle fan, what's your thoughts on what's going on? I'm sure you know what's happening. Like, why do you think this shit's happening?
I think the Philadelphia media is just really brutal, and they're big on accountability. They're quick, to move on, as we saw it, in the recent history with Doug Peterson. I mean, the first coach in Eagles history to take us to the Super Bowl and win one. 2 years later, he was removed. I think, with Wentz, I mean, we signed him to a big deal, and again, a couple of years later, I think injuries kind of plagued him after that game in Los Angeles against the Rams. After he tore his ACL, I don't think he was ever the same. The best ability is availability, and he just never was available when we really needed him in regular season or playoffs. So we were quick to move on from him, and I just think that's just the kind of culture that is really set up there in Philadelphia. You either perform or you're gone.
Yeah, and it's good, but in this case, in my opinion, you need to coddle him a little bit. You do. And I say that because of the contract that has been signed. I heard somewhere where maybe after 2026 they could get out of the contract. This is worst case scenario, Rob. I'm not saying they're going to get out of it, but worst case scenario, well, it'll only be a $55 or a $52 million cap hit. I got news for you. They're not doing that either. I mean, Howie would, because Howie did dump a lot of money, didn't he? There was a lot of dead money in that Carson deal, but don't expect that. It's just amazing how fast it turns. Just me personally, I would be very upset if I was Jalen Hurts. If I get to a Super Bowl with an RPO offense and then you get rid of my guys and you change everything. It's like, I don't understand what we're doing here. So I totally get why Jalen would be upset. Just me.
Well, I think I agree with you. But I think some of that is just success. Success is it's not that we wanted to get rid of our guys. I mean, Gannon, I know there was a lot of chirps about Gannon through that whole season, but we were the 70+ sack team. Not too sure how you could do any better than that. And then with Steichen as our offensive coordinator, success did us under with that Super Bowl. I mean, we lost a lot of good players and we lost our coordinators. That was no fault of Howie's or Laurie or anything like that. It's just comes with the territory of when you have success, you tend to lose, coordinators that come on to be head coaches. That's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. Anytime that you can get these coordinators promoted to run their own teams, is always a good thing. But I think where the frustration from Jalen is learning another offense. So, 4 or 5 offensive coordinators in his young NFL career. And I think the mistake we made is who we brought in after losing Steichen and Jonathan Gannon. Last year was just an absolute crap show. To put it nicely, with the 2 coordinators that we had, actually 3 coordinators, replacing our defensive coordinator, Sean Desai, halfway through the season for Matt Patricia, I thought was just silly as could be.
Yeah, that
and,
was a bad move.
That was horrible.
And then you went in and you got basically a disciple of Vic the guy who taught Sean Desai was Vic Fangio. Real quick, Lou Branch, there you go, brother. Lou, you're in the hopper, man. I wrote it up. I went back and looked. You're in the hopper. We are sitting at 54 people, so we're $21 away from a giveaway. So just to let everybody know where we stand. Hey, Mark Holmes, how are you? Get to the chat real quick. Prime Time was happy when I said we're doing a channel Zoom because guys like Rob, who are channel members, they aren't always available on Sundays. So I appreciate everybody in here. V. Stradamus, what's up, my man? Donnie's Drum Covers, how are you, Donnie? Kid Cowboy, there you go. Mr. Negative is in the house. What's up, Kid Cowboy? I love it, though. I love it. What else are we going to talk about? Darlene Mosher, I believe we're going to be able to stop the run, but I don't know if we can run the ball. Well, I'm going to transition a little bit. We got plenty of time to go back to the Eagles, and I'll cover anything you guys want to talk about. I'm here for as long as you guys want to talk. But we did sign 2 UFL guys. Wade, what do you think, I know you're muted, but what do you think about, or whoever, Phil, what do you think about, remember me and you, Phil, last week, we did the show, Phil, and we basically said that they brought in 4 UFL guys, and that I said they would sign 2. Gary and Conley, Ohio State, a first-round draft pick, a defensive back, and Willie Harvey Jr., and don't you know, we hit it on the head, Phil. That's exactly the 2 that they signed. They passed on DeAndre Baker, ex-first round pick for the Giants, and another guy that we passed on. So are you okay with that, Phil, or what?
Yeah, when the Cowboys have a recipe that they have found success, and it's definitely not through free agency. So this is kind of the next step that they can actually get anything. And so the past couple of times, Turpin, of course, that's a really good one. Hasn't shown any fruit. Let's be real. Other than that preseason game, he really hasn't done anything other than the field position battle, which, again, that could be huge. This upcoming year can be big. Again, they go out and they get a kicker. Now, one thing that they have done is where they've gone out and get undrafted free agents and brought them in, they become stars. With this one, they've just gone straight up and just getting MVPs. They go, okay, we're gonna get the MVP of the league, and we're gonna get the defensive all-star over here. It's like
they're pretty
and it's
good
been
at it,
it's hard to give them crap when it shows a whole season of success. It's just
Absolutely.
again,
they're
how far
big.
can you go to the well?
Yeah, well, they're pretty good at
Exactly.
it too, Phil.
I agree with that. Phil is simply just that. Is how many times can he go to the well? But hey, it's worked so far. I mean, Turpin's been great. Aubrey's been great. Those are some great, unknowns that you brought in and made, an impact. But again, how many times can you bargain shop and get that diamond in the rough?
That's the thing, is they do everything besides the one thing that can get them over the hump, and that's sign good, solid, big-name free agents.
Absolutely. Agreed with you, Walker, 100%. I mean, going out and getting those good, the first round of free agents, that those impact players that, cost money, but they come in and they're proven. And as Mark Holmes calls them, assassins, as the Eagles hire assassins to go in there and win Super Bowls, as he put it, before, that's what they just don't do well. And I think it just comes back to just not handling the cap right, signing bad contracts. You guys draft amazing. I mean, you guys always have good drafts. You go out in the UFL, get some great players, but you don't have the right man in place to handle contracts.
No, I agree with that, Rob. I did hear where Willie Harvey, who was a draft pick of Cleveland, went to the UFL, and a lot of people go, "Oh my God, there you go!" Like East Side's good for shitting on Dallas as far as going out and getting people. Hey, listen, I'm just happy. There's a glaring need, defensive tackle. I think it'll get filled. Maybe not how we like or who, but I think Linval Joseph will be brought in at some point. Him and Mike Zimmer, that's where he excelled the best. I don't know what he has left, but there will be yet another body in there. But I'm not going to sit at this point and complain about guys. I like the names. I don't know where Gary and Conley really fits in our backfield, Phil, but I'm happy about it. I was a little surprised. I didn't hear the names. Multiple teams were in on Harvey. I would hope that Eagles would be one of them because that's a team that could use a linebacker.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he fit in the 3-4. That's the thing. I don't know that.
Yeah, when I would say he fits 3-4 better than he fits anything as middle linebacker. If he fits, the thing about it is when you watch him play, you look at him, you think he's going to be undersized, but he's really good at positioning. Offensive lineman gets in front of him, he's coming up, and he somehow is able to get around him. Eventually at some point you're going to get caught. So I give him the great speed and agility to get around people. I just haven't seen him a whole lot of contact. Once he gets held up, I haven't seen much after that. So it's just, I'm interested to see what he can do. But he's definitely he's around the ball. Even if he's not making the tackle, he seems to be around it, and so that's always a great thing to clean up a play.
I welcome it. I think competition is great. And that's the one thing that the Cowboys have, Rob. We have a lot of competition, whether it be the offensive line, even though it seems like our offensive line coach wants to hand Brock Hoffman the center job. He's in love with him. And I'm not saying...
Well, that's what happened when you hang out with somebody all summer and everything. Summer love.
There you go.
In a way.
Here we go. We're going back to Greece.
Tell me more.
Oh, shit. Real quick, I got to address this. Where are we at here? 12 personnel. Arturo. I brought this up. As soon as they released the schedule, I said, a rookie left tackle. Right? Rookie left tackle. I said it multiple times. I said, look at our schedule at the beginning of the first month of the season is brutal. I said, what's the one thing we can do? 12 personnel. 12 personnel. Go run 12 personnel, shortens the game, gets the running game involved, get the tight ends. That's the one we're very. And a lot of people are going to say, "Oh, you're counting on rookies." Well, John Stevens is not a rookie, and he was balling out last year before he tore his ACL. Nobody knows about him, but he's going to be good.
Tight end, right?
He's a converted wide receiver. He's 6'6". He was really our best, right, Phil? He was our best tight end. I know that Ferguson probably wasn't getting every little rep, but John Stevens came out of nowhere to be the superstar of camp right up until the time where him and Overshone were the two superstars. Overshone on defense and John Stevens on offense, and they both tore their ACLs. Now, they're both already flying around, so it's not like these days, I hate to tell people, ACLs, it's not that big a deal. It's really not. 95% of the time you come back just as good as you were. So I think 12 personnel would be great. Now all of a sudden I'm hearing, wow, West Coast Cowboys says 12 personnel. Hey, I've been saying it, right, Phil?
I've been just saying just a different offensive line going into this year. You at least the possibility of plugging in two new pieces. Now, whether you're sliding, if you don't see a lot of improvement, or you're hearing about a great improvement in the sense of what Guyton has been able to do. But if you're not confident in that, of course, we've all talked about that Tyler Smith shifting out. Whether you're bringing in Cooper Beebe or TJ Bass for that guard position, and then maybe Guyton is over there in the right tackle, and then Steele is maybe your backup or whatever like that. I don't know how the shifting is going to be, but Brian brings it up. We've talked about it about a couple of months ago that we knew this offensive line coaching staff was going to get their favorites, and they're not going to want to switch. And going into training camp is going to happen next month. That's what's going to happen. Brock Hoffman basically going to have that job until Cooper Beebe starts hitting people when he's not allowed to.
Yeah, I think that he's going to win the job. I think Brock Hoffman's actually going to be the center going forward. I think Beebe's going to be a backup to start the year. I just do, and there hasn't been nothing.
I wouldn't doubt that.
I think that'll. Yeah. I think going into week 3 or 4, when you guys are, your schedule is brutal at first. When you have Baltimore, you have Cleveland. If Hoffman starts to, get pushed back, I could see BB taking his job sooner than later if that happens.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'll just give you a little background on Hoffman. Hoffman played a few games last year. He actually played. Where his issue is being the quarterback of the offense, not being the quarterback.
Sure.
Picking up the pressure. Dak's pretty good with that, but that's the one thing Biotis did well. But that was literally
that was the only thing he did.
He
well.
was average, right, Phil? He was average. He would get pushed down. Brock Hoffman is a way different body type. He's a big boy. He normally never gets pushed back, so that's the only good thing. But this Mike Solari or Ted Solari, Mike Solari. I don't even know the guy's name. He's been an offensive line coach since Tom Landry. He was literally an offensive coach under Tom Landry. That's how old this guy is. Now I'm not sitting there crapping on anybody, but really. Now, George says Brock Hoffman is no slouch. He will push back. Yeah, I like Brock Hoffman.
Well, the fact that when those guys came in, we were averaging 50 more yards per game rushing the ball. I mean, that says a lot. I've seen so much of his film with Tyler Biotis and just ricocheting off people. That's the best thing I can say because he has position. He has the speed. He's going downhill. He can take these guys out, and somehow he just bounces off a linebacker that's probably like 30 pounds lighter than him. And that's that. I don't know how many times he got pushed back into Dak's pocket. So that's where we didn't want to see him re-signed, and it's nothing against him. And we wish him good luck in Washington, except for when he plays us. But we need an upgrade. And I find that both those players, Brock Hoffman, BB, and you even heard about TJ Bass talking about the center position. So it sounds like he's in the mix as well. You're going to have some options. Think about this 3-4 years ago. We're talking about, hey, we got Josh Ball in here. We got Matt Walesko. Who's going to buy a Josh Ball and a Matt Walesko jersey?
Yeah, well, if anybody did that, they would be a fool. I don't expect.
In this offseason, my pissed off moment is Overshown and Jerry Jones for not giving Overshown 0. So
yeah, I don't know, Rob. Don't you think some of these number choices? I don't know. I think it affects me more than that it affects the players. I mean, who was
got a big defensive lineman with the number 1 on him?
Who the hell for the Eagles picked 19? One of the defense.
Josh Sweat.
Yeah,
he went from 94 to 19, which I thought he looked good in 94. I mean,
94 is always a really dominating number.
Right. Who was our linebacker a few years ago at LSU, Phil?
You're talking about Cox.
Yeah, he picked 18 or something.
40.
Or
yeah, it was like 18.
14.
Yeah,
whatever
14?
it was. It was horrendous.
God.
It was horrendous.
Yeah.
One looks good, but for on a receiver, or something, but. Fuck! What are these players doing? I don't know. It's stupid, people, but it is, the end of June.
Yeah, I think you really got to be a very dominant defensive player to get those single-digit kind of numbers or the teens kind of thing. Like I think Hassan Reddick looked good in single digits. Coming around the edge last year, who's now currently holding out. But it throws me off. I wish Sweat would have just stayed with 94. I thought it looked good.
It's just stupid, but it's not. It's like it's one of those things that's annoying to me. Okay, Zeke, you want to be 15? Okay, if I was
that makes sense to me. That makes sense a little bit. You just switch. You turn 21 around. It's 15.
Okay, is it? Okay. I guess I would have been like, no, we still got about 100,000 Zeke jerseys.
He did the whole Kobe thing. He coming back in a different number. Good for him.
Yeah, we got about 100,000 Zeke jerseys in a warehouse somewhere. We're gonna try and unload them first before you start.
You have a buy a 15, you automatically get a 21 with it.
Right, yeah. Buy one.
It's like buying the DVD set. When you buy the second movie, you get the first one automatically. It's like, there you go.
Dobbs back up, 49ers back up QB. Kid Cowboy.
That one's an interesting one. Dobbs,
what are we talking about? Nothing wrong with 65-year-old coach, pal. All right, well, our offensive line hasn't responded, pal. Again.
We need a coach. We need a player one. I think the last time we had a really good offensive line that responded
Brian, not Pal.
was Mark Colombo. So I tend to think that these players for us do a better job than some of the old style coaches. Oh, this coach has been in the league for 35 years. Yeah, well, he was free on the market too. So,
Yeah. So just looking at the early schedule here, I'm going to put it up as Zoom multi-view. We were talking about the Dallas schedule. Let's see here. Rob brought it up. We start out at Cleveland. I'm not going to do wins and losses necessarily.
Yeah, no.
But I don't think we win that game. But a lot of people that I trust say we are going to win that game. I think it's a tough spot. But, I think that –
I just want to see where Cleveland's at.
Yeah.
I like to see where everybody's at.
I think that game is the game that could get you to 12. If you lose that game I think they will.
I think we can win that game, Brian. Who says Deshaun Watson's going to be any good this year?
I know, and that's
Who says
true.
he's playing?
They just got a tough running game, though. I mean,
they do everything.
They're They're like gritty. They're a very gritty team where they love to
Chubb's
run
gonna
the
be
ball.
back from that injury because that was a gruesome injury that he had, man. That knee bent
Supposedly
backwards the
he's
other way.
back, but we'll see at what speed. Now, listen, I'm just saying. I think that game will go a long way to determine if we can get to that. If we go in and lose that first game, I don't think we can get to 12.
Well, if they don't give Guyton that help against Garrett, man, it's going to be a long ass day.
Yeah, you need to.
So I just looking at how hard the schedule is early on. Now, I'll just go up until the bye. How's that? Because that's what we're talking about. We're talking about a young offensive line. We're talking about the opponents that you're playing. It's tough. This is where I brought in 12 personnel, use more tight ends, kind of like what they should do in Philly. Run the ball early in this new offense. Run the ball.
Right.
That makes a lot of sense. Run the ball with whoever. Obviously Saquon's going to be there. He's going to be getting the ball via the pass, but run the ball, help out your quarterback until they get this offense down. But week 2, we come home against the Saints. Now, I totally think that's a win. So, worst case, 1-1, right? That's a good home game. Can we lose? Yeah. Listen, NFL teams can lose to any game. I mean, any game. Who would have thought that Arizona would have went into Philly and won a road game at the end of the year when they needed it?
Beat our ass, man.
So, they beat our ass there. We never can win in Arizona. We can't beat Arizona.
Yeah, we got so I was so cocky that week. I'm like, oh man, we're gonna steamroll these dudes.
Yep.
That was
Yeah.
I remember that broadcast. We were like, yeah, we're gonna win. We all had our scores out, man. That was a come back down to earth.
Yeah, we got that too. We got that late in the season. They went in our house and kicked our ass that was embarrassing. And we were up.
I think the one that got you guys early was the Jets one. I mean, obviously that got stung for a while because obviously it was the only one. But that one where you kind of felt confident going in there, man. We had, Eagles don't lose to the Jets, and this doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And then that shit happened, man. That's just crazy.
But even in our wins, Phil, we didn't look good even in our wins. I mean, our wins, we looked off. We didn't look like the same team from 2022. I mean, our wins were ugly. They were gritty, which I liked, but we didn't look good. We didn't look good in majority of our wins.
That's good that you said that because I know me and Phil talked about our schedule and how easy it was, and we'll call it. It is what it is. I mean, we won 12 games, but we should have won 12. I think we were favorite in every game but one. So, when you look at it like that, we had an easy schedule, and you guys backed out, and we almost blew it, but we were able to win a division. In retrospect, I wish we would have lost, to be honest with you, because we look what we did in the playoffs.
Yeah, Vinny, I saw that. I saw the defensive end that they're bringing in. They saw that they bring in. Do we need another defensive end? I mean, I think a defensive tackle is what I need.
Yeah,
maybe they're going to convert him. I don't know. It's like,
3 turtle backfield. Nice. Trevor kicked that ass.
Yeah, if I was, to go back over there to the Eagles offense, if I was them, I would definitely do,
Sledhead?
A 2 running back set in the backfield, whether you're splitting them, because you have 2 weapons there. You have a third possible weapon, whether you're bringing in options or, you try not to run Hurts as much, but, bringing those options either way. And then you have the tight ends that can easily roll out at the blocking. If I whiffed that block and then he's wide open underneath. And So I see a lot of potential there with those running backs. I think Kellen Moore is the type to use that. He loves his rollouts as well. So I mean, you have a lot of potential with those weapons with Barkley as a decoy. So I see it being more successful. And you know how much I was just harping on Kellen Moore and harping on Hurts separately. I think again, there's a lot of players, a lot of coordinators out there that could hurt him. I don't think Moore is one of them. I think he's going to have a lot more success under this. Again,
He's got a shit ton of talent.
Yes, exactly. But again, it's the option plays. If they continue those option plays, I think that's going to be. If you just straight up just do routes, no option plays, I think that's going to help eliminate some of those turnovers that could possibly happen. But I'm interested to see how that because I think they can start out really hot. I'm just interested to see if they can keep it up.
Yeah.
What do you think, the two of you? Because when Kellen Moore went to the Chargers last year, and I hear, I watch Cilio as well. I watch Mark Holmes, and Mark is just, I mean, he's clearly not a fan of Kellen. What in your opinions, being Cowboy fans, what went wrong in Dallas that I'm not seeing? Because I don't think he ever really had a fair shot in the Chargers system. I mean, I think the head coach wasn't that good of a head coach. There was a lot of injuries on that team, and to everybody's point, it takes time for an offense to get going when you're learning a new offense. A little bit of defending Herbert, but I hear a lot of Cowboy fans, a lot that Kellen, good luck with Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore's garbage.
They needed a scapegoat. That's why they got rid of him.
That's what I thought too. I thought it was a scapegoat myself.
I mean, we had the number one offense like several years in a row. It's like, when we get to the playoffs, like always, we bog down and we're not putting up the same numbers. Same thing happened last year. It's I don't know. I'm just starting to think it's all mental with this team now.
When I look at Kellen Moore, I think he has a smart mind. He's very good at drawing up plays, drawing up stuff. I don't think he's good at countering. Things is happening, let's counter it. Maybe he is. Maybe when he's talking with Dak and stuff like that, they're really good. I see this on the field. Let's counter it with this. I think they were really good together. I just think it's just like, again, I'm gonna bring this analogy back around, but I think it's like a relationship. You can be good in a relationship. You guys are amazing together, but they're never going to take you to that next level. They don't make you better. He only grew as far as he could with Moore, and in order for Dak to become any better, he had to get out of that shadow. I mean, there was no conversation that him and Moore were going to have that was going to lighten Dak and make him go, oh, you know what? I never thought of it that way. And so I think you needed some new mind in his ear. And as much as McCarthy was there, they weren't talking on the sidelines, went in between plays going, okay, what are we going to do? Well, if you drop 12 yards, they weren't drawing stuff up in the dirt. It was him and Moore. And I think you needed somebody more like, unfortunately, a Mike McCarthy that's more of a quarterback whisperer. I'm not saying that that's his thing, but in Green Bay, you saw a lot of that. And I think I liked him being in his ear compared to Moore. But I do like Moore's. I just think he's a very smart guy. I just don't think he's great at adjusting during the game.
I see. With that said, I mean, with the same results happening in the playoffs this last year, I mean, what are your thoughts on that? And this goes to anybody, not only on the call, but also in the chat, that, the common denominator seems like Dak didn't play well in the playoffs under Moore, his play calling. 2 years ago against the Niners, you only score 12 points. And this last year, a couple pick six and another pick. And that's under McCarthy. So what do you think what is it going to take for Dallas to get over that hump?
A better defense. Because let's be real, man, those losses, I mean, the other team easily squared, obviously the 49ers game, that's always that the offense
our
didn't do
defense
anything.
held them in check that game.
Yep,
that was all. Our defense held them in check.
Absolutely.
That's always, to me, is the exception, is that one. But otherwise, I feel like every single one of them, that defense is kind of just...
Even the first game, the offense got bogged down against the Niners. First playoff game. I mean, the offense got bogged down. Second thing with the second game, but our defense overall held them those 2 games to a reachable score for us to overcome that.
I agree with that, Walker.
By the end, I don't know. 49ers to me is just one of those teams that we just can't.
And what was different?
punched in
What
the
was the
mouth with them.
and Mark does not like me bringing this up. I'm sorry, people. I can't let it go. Dak Prescott does not throw those 2 picks in that second 49ers game. We are going to the conference title. The difference in that game was our quarterback turned the ball over twice. The Niners quarterback didn't turn it over at all.
Jerry Jones don't like that.
I'm sorry. Dak cost us that game. I'm not going to say every playoff game's on Dak, but I'm sorry. 2022 is all on Dak.
When I saw those 49ers game, I was not happy with the offensive turnouts with those. But those other ones, man, I can't really do that. I mean, I've always been so disappointed with his defense. I see so many things wrong with these games. And one of Dak's thing is, yes, his turnovers that he seems to throw very to that zone defensive guy always in the front. He always seems to throw that one. But he just starts out slow. Let's just be real, man.
Listen,
they just start slow. They don't get a score until drive 4 or 5. And it's just ridiculous. You can't do that, man.
Yeah, the game got away from him by that time. As far as in the Green Bay game, he just looked like a deer in headlights.
So many of those games that he gets like that.
Like circling back, I'm going to get my 2 cents in on Kellen. What you can expect from Kellen is he's going to take advantage of the lesser teams. Kellen Moore is very good at beating the teams that. And let's face it, Eagles are going to be favored in most of their games. So Kellen is a very smart, bright guy. It seems like we're going to find out. This year, we're going to find out if it was Kellen Moore holding back Dallas or was it Dak holding back Kellen Moore. Now, we saw what Kellen did last year.
I think last year was that. I think last year.
Yeah, I think so too. I think last year was that.
Yeah.
I mean, Dak's the common denominator of your playoff, your success in the playoff or lack thereof. Without Kellen, I know Mark brought this up on the Cilio show last week, and Philly 500 actually said the same thing. He's like, okay, you didn't have Kellen Moore to blame in this Green Bay loss, so we didn't have a
run, stopping the run or running the ball. I think both of that was our problem. Each game we've had a particular problem. The other game, like we've had flags. Oh my God, we're just so undisciplined about a lot of that shit. It's just, some of them can be phantom, but let's be real. A lot of them are just self-inflicted. Oh, we got a good play. Oh, I got drawn back because somebody was holding on the offensive line, or somebody false starts. Draws them back another. It's just it gets stupid because it's just so undisciplined. But last year I saw it as the running game. Defense, yes, but you can't stop the running game. You can't get a running game going yourself. So I think that was my main focus.
Jay
on
Smooth says
here's
Dak didn't have no wide receivers other than CD versus the 49ers. So I hear you, Jay. I hear you. But go ahead, Wade.
Here's my whole thing is Dak is a veteran. There's a lot of veterans on that team last year. Okay, okay, we didn't have a run game. Why are we getting stifled by the Packers defense? Why are we getting stifled by this defense? They went down, they kicked a field goal. Why is Dak not driving? Why is the team not going down the field and scoring a touchdown? The team looked defeated when they just kicked 3 points. It didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And this whole thing of mental, dude, there are a lot of veterans on that team. Dak's been in the league 8 years. Mike McCarthy's a Super Bowl head-winning coach. It's excuses. It's all excuses. The team has the veterans to pull through.
It's almost like Dak needs something good to happen early on. Whether it's a team, it's the defense that gives him some points or whatever. He needs that comfort level because you saw, and I'll let whoever was trying to talk go next, but you saw when he tried to force that pick six, he didn't see, and before you know, he made it worse. He made it worse.
Yeah, Savage saw that all the way. I watched the game a couple different times after the game, and I'm like, man, he just read him. He just saw it coming.
You can't get all those points back at one time. It's a slow, methodical. You need to get just the next touchdown. You don't. He was forcing a little bit under and nobody showed up, but unfortunately, you get paid the big bucks. That's what I tell people who.
Well, I mean, that's right there is he hardly ever runs. That's when you want to start running. It's just like start throwing yourself forward and stuff. You never run. This is the moment you need to run.
You need to do something.
Yes.
Yes. Sometimes you got to listen. You're the quarterback. You get all the praise when you probably shouldn't. You get more negative sometimes when you probably shouldn't. You know what I mean? That's just how it is. That's why you get paid the big money, these quarterbacks.
Cowboys, right?
Sleeping on your sleep
but
number.
Jalen Hurts, too.
Sometimes Dak has, people will say, Dak, the team was in. Dak, sometimes he's a franchise quarterback. There's going to be moments where him as a franchise quarterback, we put all this faith in you to lead us. You're going to have to drag us today.
Especially
and he hasn't done that.
Yeah.
Especially if you're going to pay him.
Yeah, and him and Kellen worked well together because they both beat up on lesser opponents. Let's just be honest. They do.
Under 500, absolutely.
There's nothing wrong with that. I don't mean that as a negative, but his record against teams with over a 500 record is below 500.
Yeah.
That I'm talking in whole. I understand he does well in division, but let's face it. Up until now, I heard Dan Silio say, and I heard Philly 500 say that Dallas is going to finish behind Washington. That's hogwash malarkey. Look at their schedule, people. Washington will be lucky to win 7 games
with the rookie quarterback,
and they'll be a better team than they were last year. They'll be a better team, but that doesn't mean that your record is going to be better. I think we'll be better, but our record won't be 12 wins. That's just how it works. It's a tougher schedule, but these people like to hear themselves talk. It's like, Dak Prescott needs to play good against other quarterbacks. Nothing broke my heart more back in the day, Wade, is when we beat or Romo was going throw for throw with Peyton Manning. Remember, we lost like 50.
Yeah, we couldn't even get 53
to 50
one time.
I mean, I felt so bad for Romo, man. Romo was lighting it up. I think he out-threw Peyton. I mean, our defense was unbelievably horrendous. If we could get one stop, and I felt so bad because he actually came out of the gate throw for throw with the best quarterback in the league at the time, and we still lost the game. But it was rough. Dak has never really beaten that elite quarterback in a big game. I'm not saying he can't win, but we've had our chance. Wade brought it up. This season's coming down to one game, people. If we go into San Fran and get waxed again, well, okay. I'll see.
I mean, people are going to say, we got along. Oh, it's just one game. No. That game means a lot mentally for that team.
I agree.
Mentally,
I mean, that's what
for our football team, that game means a lot.
Yeah. And it meant a lot to us last year as well. I mean, after the 49ers game, we were just done. We were just spent. We were humbled. They went in there and they kicked our ass. And after that, we never rebounded. So, I mean, I agree. That's just it's one of those kind of games that can make or break your season mentally. Like your mental psyche is just broken down at that point if you get destroyed again, like how we got destroyed against San Francisco last year.
Cassie, how are you?
And for all the Cowboys fans that are saying, "Oh no, it's just one game; it doesn't matter." Go look into your NFL history. Go back and watch the '95 Cowboys. They got beat by the 49ers in the regular season, and those players even came out and said they were worried about running into them again. They knew where they were going to lose. They were going to have to go back to San Fran. They were going to lose again. And when San Fran lost to Green Bay, they knew they were going to win the Super Bowl because they were owning Green Bay all those years. Green Bay couldn't beat Dallas.
Yeah, exactly. It's just amazing.
Wins over teams matters. It does go a long way for a team.
I think some of my frustration, back to all of your point, as far as, the quarterback gets paid the big bucks, is, after the Dallas loss, talking heads mentioned as far as Dak didn't play good. And then as I watched other YouTube content creators, they're like, yeah, the whole team didn't play good. But the thing is Dak's making the big bucks.
Right.
He's got to carry the team and be that leader. And when plays are broken down, he's got to be that playmaker. When everybody's covered, he's got to make that 10-yard run to extend the chains. And that's what frustrates me to hear about this Green Bay loss. It's like,
that's a good
Dak
point.
didn't play good. And it's like, Nobody played good. Well, you're right. Nobody did play good, but Dak makes the big money. The expectations are high.
Well,
Yeah,
and that's
don't let it be your franchise quarterback you're about to pay $60 million to. If everyone else is sucking, Dak, you need to be balling.
Yeah,
My whole
unfortunately. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, when I look at Green Bay, like again, Dak was the lesser of the problems. I think when you had a team, in our defense that played man coverage. How many times did Bland get beat? But how many interceptions returned for touchdowns did he have? Sure as hell wasn't in zone coverage. And he played this defense. It wasn't incredible or anything. But the one thing that Jordan Love really, he has problems with is man-to-man coverage, and he tends to throw the ball in there. And we had some hawks for corners that would take advantage of it. But what did we ended up having to do? I mean, the defense ends up running zone coverage and the whole game, and they just picked us apart. So I mean, to me, like I got to look bigger than just Dak. But yeah, is he? We look at a lot.
Thing. I don't put that loss on Dak. Green Bay, organizational failure, team failure. My thing is, it's like what Nate Newton said. Whenever that one, he does like podcasts every week. He asked him, "What do you think about Dak?" It's year 8. What I did not like is in year 8, my franchise quarterback was on the sideline in that Green Bay game, defeated and looked lost. In year 8, you should not be looking like that.
Yeah,
you should not.
Here's the thing: is when you're looking at this team, we need to do this in order to win in the playoffs this upcoming year. What is it? Is it this defense? We need to be able to stop the run. We need to be able to do. What is it? Is Dak one of those things? Oh, he needs to get started early. What is it? It's
what. Go ahead. Sorry, I thought I was muted. Go ahead.
Jay Smooth says, just real quick, Dallas's defense gave up them points versus Green Bay. Yeah, and you're right, Jay. We're not taking anybody off the hook.
But then Dak throws a pick six.
That was a total collapse, Jay. I'm not blaming this all on Dak. But what I'm saying, I think we're all saying is that sometimes when everything fails, you need your franchise guy to step up. Now again, even though a lot
he started to step up, but it was too late by that point. Let's just be real.
He started have that look on the sideline. When people say deer in the headlights, it was that look. It would be the same look I would give, but I'm a mailman from South Jersey. You know what I mean? It's a little different. I'm not the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. I would be giving that look like, what the F is going on? We were, a 6.5-point favorite? Whatever the hell it was, almost a touchdown favorite.
It was 7. It was 7.
Yeah,
I lost 1,000 on that game. So I took Dallas.
When I look at this team, improving, they need to improve this position in order to. There's so many more positions that pop up into my mind before I think of the quarterback. Now, am I against not spending $55-60 million and trying to take the gamble of finding something beyond Trey Lance? Yeah, I'm up for that. But guess what? It's a freaking gamble, man. You're going to take a young guy and just hope that he's David. That. What's David saying?
He said Dak's not a play from behind QB. And listen, not many.
Well, neither is your defense. Because your defense feasts on, they sack.
Yes,
it's when they have big leads.
Big.
They hunt.
That's the thing. If you notice,
the sacks disappeared.
They built our team finesse. They built the team wrong.
Exactly.
The Cowboys need to be They needed to be in the playoffs. We all know. The teams that are big and can push people around and control the line of scrimmage are the teams that are winning Super Bowls. We do not have that.
Indeed.
Well, that's why you see these bigger linebackers coming in. You're okay with it.
And our offensive line, a shift in getting multiple guys on the offense. Kind of taking, I know people hate this, Rob. They hate it when I say it, but I'm going to keep it real, so hopefully people appreciate it. Kind of like what the Eagles have done. Go out and address your lines. Eagles have been doing it for 10 years. They've been going out and making sure their offensive line is locked solid.
And here's a prime example.
There's nothing wrong with saying that.
We've seen it firsthand. Look what happened when Patrick Mahomes didn't have his offensive line couldn't control the line of scrimmage.
Tampa Bay killed them.
Tampa Bay mauled the hell out of them and made Patrick Mahomes look like an average quarterback.
Indeed, you're absolutely right.
The team that had both sides of the ball under control was Tampa. That's who won the Super Bowl. Those are the teams that win. And look at this Super Bowl. What won the Super Bowl this year? Kansas City's defensive line was controlling that line of scrimmage.
And they had a good run game because Pacheco was a thumper. I mean, and back to Phil's point, that's exactly what you need. Is you need a good run game and you need a good defense, especially up front in the defensive line. I mean, and I think that was Philly's success in 2017. Is we had LeGarrette Blount and we had Jay Ajayi, and I mean, we dictated that game by running, which you couldn't stack 8, and Alshon Jeffrey and them one-on-one up top, and it made Nick Foles look great. And then on that defensive line of strip sacking Brady at the end of the game, won the Super Bowl when Brandon Graham went in there and strip sacked Brady there at the end. You need a good defensive line, you need a good run game. And that's the two things that I think Dallas is lacking
Arturo's saying
right now.
the same thing that you're saying, Rob. He's saying, to keep repeating it. The key to the season is running the ball, and I think that's the key for the Eagles as well.
Jerry
I know they
and
have
them know this.
Yeah.
Look at the '90s Cowboys, big up front on both sides of the ball, good linebackers,
Right now, I think
game.
The
And a damn
defensive
good run
tackle, the defensive tackle right now is like their safety room, like years before. Remember those safety years where we need to draft somebody? Oh, we need to go, and get where was all these safeties? You got Jamal Adams,
Atwater, Dawkins,
like all these guys.
Jamal Adams.
Yeah, they were just like, "Ooh, we should go pick him." Bad choice would have been, but we were desperate, and so now we feel a little bit better about our safety. But that's right now is our defensive tackle room. We need to get bigger at linebacker. Need defensive tackles. We need to trade some maybe defensive ends for some defensive tackles. I don't know, man. We're not going to get that defensive tackle wandering around outside. We need to go out and trade for him.
Yeah, I'm hearing that a lot, David. I'm not paying him $60 million. Again, I hear you. That number is just. I don't think he's getting 60. Sorry, at least not this year. If he gets 60, it'll be next year on the open market where he's truly free. If he wants to be the quarterback of the Cowboys, he needs to be.
And here's all I'm
55.
saying, Brian. I don't know. Mark thinks that it's just going to keep going up. I'm sitting here like,
no. We talked about this.
There's going to have to be an end to this eventually. I can't see a quarterback making $80 million.
That's where I wanted to get Rob's opinion because
I
haven't. He hasn't been on our Zoom in a while. Rob, this is my Wade. It's his theory as well. I mean, I understand that the salary cap goes up. Now, okay, they're going to add game. Like another game, that's going to increase the revenue. The streaming services, okay, that's going to increase it a little more, right? They just redid the TV deal, but they could tweak it with, let's say, Netflix or whoever the hell is going to, have the Christmas games. I don't know all that, but I know they're going to start streaming more games. That'll create more. But are you of the opinion that me and Rob are? And I don't know, Phil. I want to have Phil's opinion after Rob as well. Do you think that the salary caps are going to be checked, kind of like the running back market, if not only for a few years, that maybe the quarterback ceiling ain't going above $65 million a year? I mean, I think it's going to get to a certain point where you're like, yo, guys, we cannot pay our quarterback 25% of the salary cap. Do you believe it's going to not rise? Because Mark is under the impression that it's just going to blow up 70, 80. I don't see that. I don't see it.
I don't see it either. I mean, I heard him today saying that, you're paying Dak, you're paying CD, you're paying Micah. That's going to take up a lot of your cap, and it's going to hinder you to go out and get that talent, kind of like this year with Derrick Henry, as far as you not having much money to go. And I thought he'd have been a hell of a difference maker for you guys. But, with that being said, to answer your question, I think it's going to plateau. I don't think it's going to get the big jump like it did this year. Moving forward. And I think there just has to be a cap with quarterbacks. I think beyond 65 is just
you know what I mean? I think it's coming down to it's coming down to it. Sight and Trop says his team isn't going to make the playoffs far in the playoffs with current defensive tackles. A Cowboy needs to add premium nose tackle and defensive tackle to the roster.
I'm just saying though, Brian,
I like it.
Unless you a damn Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, or a Peyton Manning in his prime, I'm not paying you $70 million a year, $65 million a year. Not happening.
I hear you, man.
Well, I mean, especially if you get the same results as like you've been getting. Again, not enough against Dak, but when you're 2-7 in the playoffs,
or no, he's 2-5. Yeah,
Oh, 2-5. Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Still
My
not
fault.
great,
My fault.
but yes, I got
Okay, so 2-5, 7 total playoff games. Okay, so
no,
you
he's
know,
2-5. He's
as
got
far
the same as Lamar Jackson.
okay, my fault. You know, the Niners' philosophy right now is, you know, you have a cheap quarterback, you're able to pay your running back, you're able
No,
to
it does not,
retain
Cassie.
your talent, and you know, and it seemed to work for them. I mean, they haven't gotten over the hump, but damn, they've had a lot of success these last couple of years. You know, and Chris McCaffrey is amazing. They just extended him recently, and I simply just don't see if Dak has hit a ceiling. I'm not too sure I could even justify paying him $60 million. And I'm not saying he has. I'm just saying, but if he's hit a ceiling, I just can't really see paying him that kind of money. Just I would draft a quarterback, go younger, go cheaper, and build good talent around him. Bulk up that defensive line, the offensive line, get a good running back, get a second receiver. Brandon Cooks is aging. I think that would take some pressure off of CD, and I think you guys would be fine after that. But if you re-sign CD and Dak and Micah, that's going to take up a lot of your cap.
Yeah, here's the thing. Everyone's on their last year of their deals. What are we going to do? Like that? Are the Cowboys looking at a blow up? Like, you know, that's my whole thing. I want the team to do good this year, but this next offseason could be pretty insane as far as what's going to happen to this team.
Yeah.
It all depends what's going to happen this year. Go ahead, Phil. Sorry, brother.
No, when I look at the salary cap, I think it's going to be the same thing. I mean, remember when quarterbacks were getting drafted early and there was no like this is really the first round draft, second round draft pick. These are where they range. It was getting ridiculous. They paid how much to Marcus Russell, how much money, and they hadn't even played a snap in the NFL. So it got to the point where they did put a cap on it. Obviously the new bargaining agreement that they've had, could counter that, and obviously they could keep going.
Mark
But
Hudson, shout out to you, brother.
I think it could get up to like 70, and I think that would be the cap out time, unless again the salary thing just keeps going, out of control. But when it comes to the teams like the 49ers, for example, doing it, they are in a situation where they can put talent around them, even more talent, just because, man, look, they got a nice rookie deal. A very extreme rookie deal, because let's just be real. Mr. Irrelevant is going to be the lowest of the salary caps that you could possibly pay somebody in the draft. So, unless he gets to that point where they're going to maybe hold out. But when I look at the 49ers, I don't look at that team and go, well, it's because of the quarterback is why they're successful.
No.
I almost feel like you could put a lot of other quarterbacks in there, and maybe they won't be as successful, but I think they would run that offense really, really well. So to me, when it comes to wanting to do it, I think Dak will actually fall around 58 million. I think that's where it'll be. 58 million.
Point with Garoppolo, right?
What's that?
I mean, Garoppolo and that offense really.
You're breaking up there, Rob.
Yeah.
Good evening, Game Time and crew. Hope everything is good. Mark Hudson, thank you, sir. We have reached our threshold for one. I got another one. We've reached our threshold. We're up to 85 now with West Virginia Country Boys, so we got at least one rolling tonight. You keep it real, Brian. Thanks, West Virginia. I appreciate you, my friend. But yes, so again, I want to get to some of Bang Bang Philadelphia, because he's had some good points, but the chat's moving pretty quick. You think I'm going to stick with two QBs and Dak and Romo for 18 seasons and never been past second round? Heck no. That's one thing I'll say about the Eagles. Bang Bang is they're not afraid to reload. You could say what you want about the guy that they got from Pittsburgh Steelers. But
because they can be out the door the next day, they can be fired. Everybody works harder when there's a possibility of your ass getting canned the next day if you don't do well. I mean, you got a family business. That shit just.
Kenny
you
Pickett
don't have that
is
same
the long
fear.
term. He's going to be here for a while. I think Phil. I don't know if he liked him. I liked Kenny Pickett in college, so I think he's a good a guy. I think he fits really good because he's mobile in Kellen Moore's system. Not now, but down the road. He's a good investment. So we'll see what happens with Jalen. Now, real quick, do you think Howard Eskin was running his mouth and he's got the company line? Do you think that Jalen Hurts is letting the money get to him and he's acting different? Or do you think, is there another reason why he's pissed off? I think he's pissed off because they're changing everything that was successful that made Jalen Hurts. I mean, it's like, I'm very confused as what they're doing. But do you think the money has gotten to Jalen, Rob?
No, I don't think it's the money. He's always been stoic. So anytime that he gives an interview, he's always very monotone, very boring. I think the frustration sets in where there's the lack of stability. I mean, the head coach, GM, still the same, but these coordinators it's like a revolving door. Like I don't know, like
success. That's what success.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like a T-Mobile call center where it's just a revolving door. It's just and for him to learn another offense again.
There's a lot of pressure on him. Yep.
It is, and I think the moment got to him. He's young. He's got to figure it out, but I think he will. There's growing pains of learning a new offense, and for him to learn another offense again. Again, the strength behind that is a good offensive line and a good run game. Just hand the ball off and get a flow of the offense slowly. I mean, don't go out there and throw the ball 40, 45 times, game one, game two.
Yes,
just
I like that.
Ease into the offense. Just ease into the offense. That's why you paid Saquon all that money, right? I mean, utilize him as a workhorse. And if he starts to tire down, bring in Shipley, bring in Gainwell, and utilize that offensive line. The offensive line, you can't replace Jason Kelsey, but Cam Jurgens has been in the league for a couple of years. He's a good right guard. He'll transition to center, and Steen will plug in the right guard position. And
well last year.
He did. Steen stepped in a couple games. I think he came out of Alabama. He was a rookie last year out of Alabama, and I think we'll be just fine. Just run the ball and just acclimate, just ease into the offense.
Yeah, I agree. Mark Hutchins says NFL needs a cap minimum and max for each position. That sounds good, Mark Hutchins.
Like
I don't
NBA,
know
the
that
max deal.
I don't know that these owners want to have to think that much. I think it could only help Dallas because Dallas thinks they're the smartest person in the room when they're letting the market play them more than any team I can remember in modern history. I've never seen a team direct their team. And, everybody said, well, Jimmy Johnson's in their ear. Jimmy Johnson never coached in a salary cap era. He did, but it wasn't very successful. Okay, right. He was successful pre-salary cap. When you could go out and let's face it, you could say whatever you want. Not lucky, but we went out and it took Mark Tuinei, who was a defensive player, and made him a left tackle. We went out and got everybody's leftovers. We went out and got Kevin Gogan to play right tackle, who was he wasn't very great. And all of a sudden he comes to Dallas and he was.
Jimmy did say whenever he did get a team together in Miami, Dan Marino was already broke down by then. It was already over.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He had gotten the defense together. He drafted some Hall of Famers, Zach
Thomas,
Taylor.
Yes. But, I mean, it's hard. It's not as easy as, you know what? Let's go get us a Charles Haley. Now it's like, well, where are we sitting with the salary cap? We got to look next year and the year beyond. It's not about just getting – that's what people don't realize. It's not about getting a player that could fit this year. It's about, okay, well, who's up next year and the year after? We're going to invest draft capital for this said player now. What are we going to do with him next year? Is it worth this to take that player? There's a lot going into the salary cap, and our – Cat Boy, Mark Holmes' guy, Stephen Jones, he's horrible at it. Whereas Howie, I think that's where Howie Roseman excels, is manipulating the cap. Now, that being said, if Jalen Hurts has a bad year, they're effed. Now, I don't think they can move on from Jalen, but if he is not that guy going forward, which I don't think that's the case, but if that word would be the case, they are screwed salary cap wise. The Eagles
Mark keeps talking about 2028.
yeah.
And I don't get that when Mark mentioned that Walker, because he broke it down. I watch all of his videos. I watch a lot of content as far as from Game Time and from Mark and that. And he was breaking down 2028 of the Eagles. And I'm thinking in my mind, well, for one, how he knows how to manipulate that. So in 2026, 2027, I mean, he's going to find a way to manipulate it to work in the favor of bringing in talent. That's how he does. That's his bread and butter. That's what he does well. We don't draft all that well, with the exception of offensive line. I mean, majority of our offensive line are draft picks, but he knows how to manipulate the cap. So I'm not worried about this 2028 where in all this trouble and blah, blah, blah. I could really see how he just continues to manipulate it. He's been doing it for years. Every year he stays aggressive. He goes out and gets talent, hence 2017 when we brought in JJ in mid-season and so on and so forth. But
that's if he's there in 2028.
Yeah, well, that's true. Absolutely. You're absolutely right there.
Yeah.
If he's still there, but I wish that Dallas would do. I'm really curious to see why, with knowing what needs to be done, why it just isn't getting done to free up some of your cap space to go out and get that talent. I mean, missing out on a Derrick Henry could really make or break the season. If it's not Dak still getting redone, then why not TDs? Why not Micah? Something to free up some cap space to bring in a difference maker in that first round of free agent, or the first wave of free agency, I should say. It's just beyond me and how Dallas just stays put.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah, we got David Cowboy says they haven't paid Jalen anything on cap yet. No, they haven't, David. That's what I said. And they're not. It was great, but you got to win.
Mark's
that.
making it seem like down the road here in the next 4 years, Jalen Hurts' contract's going to hit big time.
It is.
Let's be real. All those contracts are going to hit at some point. But when the Saints, when Sean Payton got suspended, he was gone that whole year. What they had like negative $65 million going to that free agency,
right?
And then they signed people. Like they went into that next year, just nothing happened and just continued on. So to me, there's no art to it. It's just you have a guy again, that's Stephen Jones, that, let's just be real, he's gotten complacent in his position because there is no threat. And so instead of studying it up and understanding guys, he's just bypassing because he believes he knows best. They're spending their money. That's the thing, is they've gotten to the point where they kick the can down the road where they're okay, we'll do a void year, we'll do this, we'll push it back. And eventually they couldn't do it anymore. And I think that's where they got to it. But if they really wanted a Derrick Henry, they could have pulled some strings and really gone after him. They're not that team anymore. The guys we want, let's bring in Bobby Wagner. That would have been a difference maker, teaching your young guys, your linebackers, being a stud linebacker that could help with the run, with the defensive tackles having the problems that they are. No, he didn't want to take my $1 offer. It's ridiculous.
Or even hometown guy from here in Denver, Colorado, Calais Campbell. I mean, I watched the kid play in high school. I worked with his mom. Look at him now. I mean, he's in Miami, and you're talking about a difference maker on your D line.
He is.
Even at his age, he's still gonna wreak some havoc. Like the Dominican Sues and the Linval Josephs and stuff like that. I mean, he's a gap filler.
Lou Branch, Henry was waiting on a call from the Cowboys. Yeah, that was never coming, Lou. That was never coming. But my wife's going to draw a name out of the hat. We got a few prizes here other than hats and shirts. So she's going to pick a name, and we'll see who the winner is. JoJo Gonzalez.
JoJo, hey.
Congratulations, Joe.
JoJo.
Well deserved.
No, that's it for now. Right now, we got everybody's favorite guy. We got a Dak Prescott plaque. I'm going to give away. This one here is a little dark, but it's Charles Haley with the 5 Super Bowl rings. Mark made that a while ago. We got hats. We got T-shirts. Let me know. Oh, everybody. I do got the new hat in. I got the Royal.
That's nice.
So we got the Royal with the star. Obviously, Rob's got one of these. The Eagle Green, Game Time Brian. I don't have any more of the black. We got the Navy Game Time, and we got the script, the gray script. So if anybody wants one, GameTimeBrian@gmail.com. So JoJo's a winner, so she can let me know. We are the $10 towards our next giveaway. So JoJo can let me know what she wants. I'll email her later. I have her email. But to wrap up this Zoom, any last thoughts? We'll let Wade go first. What's your last thoughts before we get into training camp? Is there anything you want to see in training camp? I mean, what are you looking for right now? I mean, just
I'm looking to see what my main focus is the defense, because that's my biggest unknown right now. I think Dak will do good. I think CeeDee Lamb and I think the offensive line will be pretty solid. I just have the defense is a big mystery to me, what they're going to be this year.
Agreed. I agree with you.
I need to see something because we got a new defense coordinator too. We don't have a defense this year, folks. We're in trouble.
I hear you, man. I'm worried about I'm desperately worried about our defensive line being able to stop the run. We'll go to the Eagles side of the ball. Rob, what are you looking forward to as training? We got a month, so we'll be doing this again. But just off the top, what are you most interested in seeing from your team?
Well, before I go, I just want to say, I just enjoyed being on this channel. I love how real you guys keep it. You guys, just call it like it is.
We try to. As you see by the chat,
much appreciated.
Sometimes they don't like it for it, but again, that's the way I got to be. There's enough. There's a lot of Cowboys content creators that just say that we're the best things. Yeah, and if you want that, you can find that. I mean, I'm not here to run anybody away. Don't get me wrong, Rob. Once the season starts, it's game on. We're gonna have fun.
Absolutely.
But I'll probably have a bag over my head at some point during the season. That's just how it works. But anyway, go ahead, buddy.
So with that said, I'm just looking. I'd like to see this running back room. I want to see this Jordan Shipley out there. I'd like to see big Jordan Davis. He's slimmed down. I want to see how impactful he is. Hopefully he could condition himself to last the whole season. I think he was great for the first 5-6 games of the season last year, and then he kind of gassed out. So I'm expecting more out of him, especially for as much as we've given up. I'd like to see Huff. I want to see what he's about. And honestly, I would like to see what these rookies are about. I mean, we're getting a lot of hype with Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, and I want to see if they're if the hype actually fits the play. Because on paper, I think we look damn good. I think we look best in the NFC East on paper, but it has to, apply on the field. And these coordinators are going to make or break us this year, and it's either going to give Sirianni some job. It's going to help him keep his job, or he's going to lose it. I could see Sirianni gone halfway through the season. I really can, if we just tank it. And on paper, we could be the dream team as didn't put it back in the day.
Use that term because we know how that turned out. But you got Nnamdi Asomugha falling asleep in his car at training
Washington,
camp.
Yeah. So exactly. Yeah, Nnamdi. We're talking about a bust. We were supposed to. We had 3 corners back then.
We've had many a bust. We've had many of those guys. You think they were gonna? I mean.
Roy Williams.
Yeah, exactly. Roy Williams.
Wide receiver.
Oh, God. We gave 2 number ones for Joey Galloway.
From Seattle. I remember that.
Adrian, what was his name? LSU.
Claiborne?
Not Adrian Claiborne. Morris Claiborne. Yes.
Morris Claiborne.
Yeah. So we've been there, man.
Yeah.
Phil, what are you looking for, brother? And then I want to get to something before we get out of here.
I'm looking for battles in the trenches, man. I understand what we have: defensive backs, cornerbacks. You're going to see film out. Oh, corners are making interceptions. Wide receivers are making plays. It's just back and forth with that. I'm really because to me, the NFL, you win and lose by the trenches. And I expect way better things from our offensive line. I want to see it. I want to see Hoffman in there. I want to see if he's going to win the battle. It's because he's really kicking ass and he's leading and stuff like that. But obviously, I'm right with Brian. I want to see the defensive tackles. I want to see something. I want to see how Zimmer uses them, maybe keeps them in there. Hey, hold each other's hand when the play starts just so you guys don't go anywhere. I don't know. Red Rover, send your quarterback over. I don't care what it is. We need to figure out something with the defensive tackles, and that's what I'm interested in, the battles of the trenches. But I'm ready to get shit started now, and we're still a month out before we even get going.
I hear you, man.
Vinny, to your point, before you go, game time. I want to see Mozzie. I want to see, if he's gonna step up and be that guy. I mean, you guys drafted him late in the first round, but he's got to step up. This has got to be the year. Similar to like I said about Jordan Davis. These guys, they're heavily invested in them. They're first round picks, regardless if it's mid, early, or late in the first round. They're first round picks. Now they got to start playing like they're first round picks. So I want to see what Mozzie's about.
Yeah, and I agree. I have no hopes for Mozzie. I'm not saying he's a bust. I'm just not putting myself in that headspace right now. He has a lot to do. He just needs to get healthy. He needs to crawl before he can walk.
Small amount of potential, but to me,
again, at this point,
he seems like Gallimore, one of those guys that's just at the bottom. Neville Gallimore.
At this point, he's got to surprise me. I've given up on him as far as counting on him. He's just going to be a guy who's going, oh, look at Mozzie. Oh, okay. Again, everybody forgets.
He'll make a play out of here and there.
Yeah, he's a bottom of the first round guy. So, but anyway, I want to end with this. I got some sad news. It sucks. It really does suck. I went. I can't believe it's been 2 years now, Phil. How long has it been since I went to Texas with Mark? Has it been 2 years?
About 2 or so years. Yeah.
It's at least 2 years. I want to say it was 2 years. Yeah. We went to go down to Texas. The whole goal was to go down there. Stuart Morrison, we were going down there. He was diagnosed with an aggressive form of cancer, and he was a college wrestler, very, very talented wrestler. If anybody's played sports, you know that wrestling is one of the hardest sports you could do growing up. I wrestled for a brief period of time, and it was one of the hardest. It's a grind to be a wrestler. So Stuart Morrison was a hell of a wrestler, and then he was relegated to a wheelchair. The idea was for us to go down. I was just getting started in this whole YouTube thing. I hadn't done but a half a dozen videos, but I was on Mark's channel a lot. I got a relationship with Stuart, so we were going to go down, meet Stuart, and he wanted to redo the bathroom for his mom. He wanted to meet Mark. He wanted to meet Mark mainly, but he also wanted to meet me. We had conversations, and he passed away before we got a chance. Literally, 4 days prior to us going there. We actually went to his memorial while we were down there. So, again, Mark Holmes was a guy who never was a big public speaker. You would never know that now. I mean, he's come a long way, but he stood up at this local establishment in Dallas, and he did a speech at Stewart's it's like Texas is different. They don't really do viewings as much out there. At the memorial service, they had a big picture of him, and he was up there in front of a couple hundred people. Shout out to Mark Holmes. That's not the easiest thing to do. He didn't know anybody. They knew him as Mark Holmes. But there was a guy there named Eric Weirs who was Stewart's best friend, or like one of his friends. He showed up at Stewart's house when we got there, me, Mark, and Mark's son, Michael, and, just a few people, and we were there doing work. He showed up with his pickup truck, and he did the grunt work. He actually took 3 full truckloads, at least 3, of debris and stuff, and demo from the bathroom and the doors, because we replaced like 3 doorways. We redid his whole bathroom for his mother. And Eric Weirs just showed up and said, I'm here to help. What do you need? And we're like, wow, that would be great. We could just start. Awesome. So we unloaded all this. And I'll put a picture of him as I go out. But Eric Weirs Jr. passed away last Friday. He was a lot younger than I was, but a selfless individual. He's been in our chat a lot. I haven't seen him as much lately. But it's just kind of like... it was another gut punch to a guy that I met through YouTube. The dude didn't have to take off from work and do what he did. He literally, it was hot in Texas. He was kicking his ass to help out his best friend Stuart, who had just passed away. All as I would say for Eric is, he's hanging with Stuart right now. My thoughts and prayers go out to his family. But as I go out, I will hit the outro, but I will do a picture of Eric. Eric, I'm really sorry. Eric's son got a hold of me. So it's very sad. So with that being said, I will see everybody. I will have some video content tomorrow. Just take a minute or a few seconds to think about Eric. He was a treasure to the channel, and he was a good guy, man. So, all right, everybody, good night.
Rest easy there, Eric.
Hey, man.
What?
I'm cool. This is me. We're gonna jump on that spaceship and get out of here. Let's
go.
No
judgment. Shoot. To smash that subscribe button. You know what? I'm gonna give it. I'll give it 4 out of 5 avocados. Korg?
I was raised by avocados.
Oh my God! Just kill me now.
Ho ho ho.
Green Giant.
Hey! We know each other. He's a friend from work.
This is literally the first time I took my gun out of the holster. Right.
And that is why we need a triumphant video.
You guys led us to this. Thank you.